Thank you, Dr. Amir and Dr. Rama. Learning is indeed a never-ending journey. If you are keen to find out more about our postgraduate program, please do drop us a message to find out more. For those interested in pursuing a doctorate degree, we present the unique value of our DBA program in comparison to a PhD. Our senior lecturer from the School of Business and Social Sciences, Dr. LB, together with DBA candidates Joshua Liu, Tommy Lin, and Rin Saleh, will share and talk about the similarities, differences, and the uniqueness of our DBA program. Over to you, please.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody. It's so nice to see that you are all here. It's wonderful to be with you. And, as you heard, we are here to discuss the unique value that the DBA presents. As all of you probably know, the doctorate is the highest level of academics that you can reach. It's really the highest. I don't think there's anything that is really there beyond that.
That's right.
The doctorate is also a passport. It opens many, many doors. It's even a passport to different countries. Countries open their doors when you have a PhD, when you have a doctorate. And of course, one of the most interesting things is that when you have a doctorate, it becomes part of your name all your life. So recently, I had my birthday recently, and even in the birthday party, they were singing "Happy Birthday, Dr. Albi." Even in the birthday song. Yeah. As a matter of fact, yesterday I was watching the latest James Bond film, which was a bit of a disappointment, actually. The film I didn't particularly like.
Okay.
But I was just thinking, when I saw it, he introduces himself and he says, "My name is Bond, James Bond." And I was thinking maybe it might even sound better if he said, "My name is Bond, Dr. James Bond."
Wow. That would be fantastic.
So the three students who are here, they're all going to be Dr. Joshua, Dr. Reen, and Dr. Tommy very, very soon. So I thought it would be wonderful to introduce them all to you because they are doing what is a very unique program, which wasn't there during my time. That helps you to guess what my age is. The DBA program is something new, relatively new, and it's a wonderful program because it keeps you in touch with industry. It keeps you in touch with, these are topics that are from the industry. They are meant for industry professionals. And it's not as theoretical as the PhD. So in order to explore this a little better, I'm going to introduce all three of them and even explore their lives and their studies, and that will give you a very, very good idea of what the DBA is all about.
Okay.
So, Joshua,
Yes.
will you introduce yourself?
Yes. Thanks, Dr. LB. Of course, first of all, a belated happy birthday to you again, Dr. LB. And Dr. LB is right. I guess for all of us here, the difference between a PhD and a DBA actually lies, basically to people out there, is a doctorate degree. It is the same. And to me, the very good difference between these two is what we call in terms of passion, personality, and purpose. And doctorate degree is very, I like to say, practitioner-based. That is very practical to your work, to your business. So Dr. LB, for me, I'm actually a trainer, also a speaker. So for my training business, in terms of that, I'm actually doing a thesis focusing on the new generation and what causes them to be successful. And I do hope by doing this thesis, it will add value to my business and expand my training, I like to say, offering of courses. And this is actually very practical to me. At the same time, of course, I did something that's of passion to me, finding out about the newer generations, their likes, and what makes them, I would like to say, successful, their lifestyles. And this is actually what we call in terms of passion. Personality is you do your own style. And the doctors here, or let's say lecturers here, they're all very willing to help us, whether you're doing qualitative, quantitative, or mixed method. All this will be, in a way, shared with us so that we find the best methodology to do your research. So don't get me wrong, doctorate degree is not like something you can just do it. It is still rigorous, I like to say. It's just like PhD, except that we have got, in terms of passion, personality, and the last one is purpose. And the purpose, of course, to me, is to add value to my life and also to my business. It's done exactly just like this when I took up my doctoral degree here, MDIS, about 3 years ago. So I think it's a very fun journey, Doctor.
Absolutely. I think I'm just adding this as a light-hearted touch. Joshua is also Mr. Singapore. So it raises the aesthetic value of the doctorate students in our class to have a Mr. Singapore in our class, right?
Okay, thank you.
Is that correct, Reen?
Yes, that's right. Absolutely.
Reen, we are classmates, right? Okay. So Reen, would you
yes.
share with us more about yourself too?
Oh yeah. Basically, I had some workplace strategy planning and experience in an MNC, Asia Pacific, India, Japan, and Korea. So it's actually sort of like a global and region implementation of projects. I lead a team across in the region with different cultures and more importantly in different time zone. I'm also a mother, a daughter, a wife, and a colleague. So in a day of my life, time starts early in the morning till night. However, with flexible schedule that I manage across the day to meet my personal and business needs. I also create my own white space to plan and manage my timing according to the needs, prioritize what is required, and shift the unimportant task to something which is across with my team. So the DBA topic that I chose is really close to my heart and a passion. It's also something that I would say would boost my career in that sense, because it's really, although it's not easy to manage times and that sort of stuff, but definitely a topic that can bring me and expand knowledge to student and professional currently. So it's really being a representative of your topic of your choice and bring forward your research as learnings to different organization or in your industry. You can also be a industry, guest speakers, panel discussion. So I do all those stuff to continue improve that knowledge, basically.
Wow. Sounds
Wow.
really exciting.
I know.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I'm always inspired to do more.
Yes, and actually Reen always inspires us tremendously because she's an incredible juggler.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think I've ever seen somebody who juggles so many roles so efficiently. And actually, we'll come to that a little later because she also travels a great deal. So sometime we'll come to that exactly how you do it because quite frankly, I'm quite amazed by it. The person that I would like to introduce you now to is Tommy, whom we are very, very proud of. Tommy is almost like a lodestar for us, an inspiration for all the DBA students. The fantastic thing about Tommy is, of course, we are always trying to make sure that everybody finishes on time in 3 years. Tommy was the incredible student who finished long before time, and then he told both his supervisors and the university, hey, I've finished. I would love to submit way beyond time, way before time.
Role model.
And that's really an incredible role model. So Tommy, a little about yourself.
Hey, hi, thanks, and hello everyone. Thanks, Dr. LB. So basically, I work in a non-government organization, and the organization that is being set up to look into the welfare and the well-being of workers in Singapore. So like what Reen and Joshua mentioned, my thesis is also very close to my heart, and in fact, it's what I'm doing daily. It's about workers. More specifically, it's about low-wage workers in Singapore. So my research topic is into the progressive wage model, which is the Singapore's unique minimum wage plus system. Also, I was quite lucky. So Joshua mentioned about 3 Ps, right? So I think I would like to add another P. I was able to finish the thesis before the deadline, very much due to peer support. I do have a lot of support, not just from classmates, but also from colleagues, from supervisors, from MDIS, from TSA University as well. and all help to contribute to finishing your thesis much earlier than you would expect. And not just for myself, I think for everyone, you can actually do that. So what I did was I just pick out little times, in between meetings, during my lunch time. I just took, 10, 15 minutes to try to read through the references and have the discipline of writing a few hundred words daily. And there I have it. I managed to complete the whole DBA course.
That's fascinating, Tommy. I think the fact that both of you even conceived and developed the 3 Ps and the 4 Ps in order to teach students how to complete your DBA itself is proof that the DBA is opening minds, coming up with different concepts, coming up with original concepts, etc. The other wonderful thing, of course, the DBA is for industry professionals, and it encourages you to remain in industry, solve industry problems, in contrast to the PhD, which is more theoretical, academic, etc., etc. However, having said that, if you do wish at some point in your career to move to academics or to move to research, it's absolutely the academic rigor of the DBA is as strong, as stringent as the PhD. So there is absolutely no bar for you to enter academics or research. And I'm going back to Tommy for this. Tommy, would you like to tell everybody about that aspect of it?
Yes, so I do agree with Dr. Albi completely. Not only that you can teach, so that's one career path that you can consider, but you could also consider joining the IHLs for a research track. So for myself, I had the privilege of presenting my research thesis to NUS, and I'm also very honored that they have decided to appoint me as an adjunct research fellow in NUS itself. And I had the chance to present my research findings to hundreds of academics over a seminar, and it's really interesting to be challenged by many academics, who are professors, associate professors, on their research findings. But I find that interesting because that actually helps you to grow and broaden your whole horizon. And I think that's the value of DBA, not just on the theoretical part, but on the more practical front. How do you implement all these things, and how do you put your recommendations to work? And I think as industry practitioners, these are all very important aspects. So I would think that the value of DBA is both on the theoretical aspect, which you have a good understanding, as well as on the practical front. How do you implement all this now that you understand the theory part?
Sounds like, I think for him himself is going on the research track. And for me, Dr. LB,
yes.
Actually I've actually handed my resume for quite a number of educational institutions to apply to be an adjunct lecturer. And I think that they are getting traction and doing meeting up interviews. And I think that even for a DBA like this, to them, a doctorate degree, whether DBA or PhD, the moment once you have that, it shows your academic level. And it actually does help you a lot more.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Tommy, we're really, really proud of you that you've been selected as an adjunct research fellow at NUS, and that you've presented your research findings to academicians who are really are steeped in research.
Congrats to you.
I think obviously it's wonderful to share your findings with industry professionals as well, but to be able to, again, it's a question of balance. You're able to balance industry professionalism as well as academic rigor, and that is something that we can all be very proud of you, Tommy.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to add on one more thing, Dr.
Yes,
Albi.
yes.
Just now, I think Tommy mentioned on peer support, and Reen and I, we are in the same batch, our classmates. I'd like to say that family or community is really important here, and I would like to say, is so significant in our walk during the journey of DBA. So do not worry if you think that, Dr. LB, Joshua, I'm taking a doctorate here. Am I going to be alone, except with the lecturer's help? Fear not, okay, fret not, because we form a support group. And even up to now, I think Rin will know, we have got this
Yeah.
group chat. Anytime we have anything we need to ask, other than asking our lecturers, the first point of contact or bounce off is actually with ourselves, because we're all doing different topics, but yet we're in this journey together. So I love this support group or community of help for one another.
Absolutely. I think in one of our discussions, somebody mentioned that it's the kampong spirit.
That's right. Yeah. Yes. I love that word.
Yeah,
Kampong spirit.
definitely.
Yeah.
I think it's very
for those who are not
important, you know.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, Tommy?
So I just want to add on to Joshua. It's not just amongst different within your own batch, you know. In fact, in MDS, I think across batches, right? So when I managed to complete my DBA thesis, I met Joshua and his cohort to share some of this journey and also the knowledge and experiences completing the DBA thesis. So I would think that this is not just inter between cohorts, you know, it could be it's not just intra, but also inter cohorts, you know, supports that's possible in MDIS.
Oh, definitely.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
definitely.
yeah.
And definitely because the ability to know your colleagues is also to know their topic of interest, and sometimes you never know that there is some intersection where there's similarity, and then you share the concept, whether it's qualitative or quantitative or mixed method. There's always a similarity in that learning, so you sort of like bounce back the intelligence, the knowledge, and the in-depth topic, and progress as you go along from year 1 to year 2 to year 3. So I think that capability as a kampong spirit or the community of knowledge is important for us to progressively to become a motivation and also inspire us to do well.
Marvelous. I think for those who are not familiar with the term kampong is the traditional Singapore village that used to exist earlier.
That's
So
right.
the kampong spirit is about a community spirit, is about a village. I think it was Hillary Clinton who said that it takes a village to raise a child. And it's very wonderful to find that it's also taking a village to raise a DBA candidate in MDIS. You know, it's the entire community that is creating the DBA candidate. That's wonderful. It's something that's so heartening.
Yes.
And
I would like to share that actually during this journey,
Yes.
LB, I've learned a lot on the research methodologies, which I think as a practitioner in my own business, a training business, in my own academy-wise, where we do research for training contents-wise, is very practical or practitioner-based. But after going through this journey, there are many ways you can do it. Literature review. We can also tap upon other people's research to further it, whether is it more in terms of doing survey, questionnaire, or case studies, or interviews. And this I will apply totally in my training contents, so that next time where we do come up with new training contents avenue for the next generation, we will know that it is based on, in a way, research proven, or in terms of methodology-wise. So something which is, I believe in PhD, we are learning exactly the same. Is that right, Doctor?
absolutely, the academic rigor between the two streams, whether you're doing your PhD or whether you're doing a DBA, is absolutely the same. The difference is more in the content. The PhD program is actually essentially more theoretical. Now, it need not have any practical use at all. Now, for instance, in chemistry, I can say that, oh, I'm going to investigate the effect of mixing chemical A with chemical B, and it maybe produces chemical C. And it needn't have any practical application. It need not have any practical use at all, and it will still be a valid PhD thesis.
I see, okay.
I know I'm going to say a slightly controversial statement, but actually in management, there can't really be a theoretical thesis which is disconnected from marketplace reality. Because everything that you come up with, you might conceive of a wonderful theory, but it has to sell more products in the marketplace. If it can't do that, it's not a good management theory. So the PhD essentially was born out of the physical sciences, and I would say that the DBA is a huge step forward for management. Obviously, the DBA program didn't exist when I was doing my my doctorate, but I would really say that the DBA, I mean, this I agree is a slightly controversial thought, and there'll be many academicians who won't be happy with it. But I would say this is a purely personal thought, that the DBA leaves the PhD behind in management. I'm not talking about the physical sciences. I'm not even talking about other subjects. I can tell you that my daughter is doing her PhD in Cambridge, and she's doing it in education, where you need a certain amount of theoretical foundations, etc. So I fully understand that. So it's not that I'm saying I'm not denigrating the PhD in any way. I'm just saying that in management, it's probably the future. So an old fossil like me is probably, just give me a second, I'll just pick up the microphone. Yeah. An old fossil like me is probably something that will be left behind, we will probably move into much more exciting new phases with the DBA. The DBA is actually really the future. Reen, I just wanted to come back to you. Obviously, the DBA is meant for part-time full-time professionals who are doing their doctorate part-time. And I would like to come to each of you to explain a little more in detail, how are you juggling your time? How are you able to cope with, you have a lot of travel as well, right, Reen?
Yes, that's right. So I think we should always bring forward the idea of reimagining the future. And reimagining future could be in the way you study, the way you work, how you plan your life, and build out a more holistic way in providing that relevant solution, right? So the ecosystem, I think, because I travel, I also have to take care of my kids and everything else, work as in a regional reporting to global. Like I say, I have night calls, I have early morning calls. I prioritize every single work that I do. Everything on my calendar need my attention in specific, I will put it on it. But however, those that I think I do not need to be there, or I do not feel that I can contribute, or there is an ability for my subordinates, my colleagues, to represent it better, because it's also important that as a leader, you also bring those that working together with you, bring up their skills to represent themselves. So as what Dr. Albi earlier said about management, it's also about juggling the way you work, right? And juggling the way you study in any time, on weekends, if I have a time, weekdays, as and when in between hours. Jot down that idea, and then always have a note, you can always type in on your, you always have your handphone or your laptops. Ensure that you always type in the idea. Doesn't mean you have to write the whole 2-page, 3-page, but what's important, catch it and then go back to it when you think, how do you plan it later. So that thought and thought process is about being able to think it holistically on what you do daily, what you work, how you work, and reimagining that new way of working, so that you manage your time. And it's also a mental health thing, where if I have morning calls, sometimes I can do my gym in the morning. If I don't have night calls, I juggle across in between. So I put in within my white space, creating my white space, block in time for gym, block in time to have dinner, lunch, and manage that. So prioritization.
So Reen, when you were talking about white spaces, that was very interesting, Joshua. Right. So white spaces are, could you elaborate on that? Everybody is quite interested about that.
It's basically how you put your mindset, a day in your life, a day in your week, and actually plan what you need to do in segments of importance. Like when you want to have coffee, when you want to meet up, when you're going to have meetings, where you're going to do, is sort of like paint a plain, if you can imagine that mythology of a plain canvas. How do you put the colors in your life? And
okay.
only you can create it, right? If you're not able to do it, then how do you expect others to to respect what's your timing and create that for you? So
I see.
the actions is on you. Yeah,
I
being
see. That's
busy.
marvelous. Marvelous.
Yeah, being busy is really, it can be, everybody's busy, I can tell you. I am very busy, I can tell you. But I do have time to spend a little bit of different interests or my interests, my extra curriculum, my meet up with friends, tea and stuff like that. And it's all about planning. So I would always have that Napoleon Hill quote that is
Okay.
plan your work, work your plan, and your plan will work. So this is key in my understanding.
Marvelous.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, in the middle of all this, when you're doing your doctorate, I think I should ask Tommy this. You have finished. You have actually finished. We should be calling you Dr. Tommy, but it's just that it's the formal degree has yet to come. So, did you put on weight during the years that you were doing your doctorate?
Interesting question.
And so yes, this is probably related to when I say that I tapao back to office, so I start reading all the references and jot down ideas. Fortunately, after 3 years, I weigh myself, it still remains
Yes.
the same.
Oh, you've
So
remained the
I
same. So
didn't
you
put on weight.
Okay. I would
So I
say
was quite lucky
that's probably a very, very good sign, right? Of course, here we have somebody who's incredibly fit. I mean, Joshua, just how do you
Mr.
manage all
Singapore.
that? Yeah, Mr. Singapore himself. So, I mean, that's incredible.
But first of all, I'd like to mention that these 3 years is very well spaced out. The first year, we did 2 modules.
That's
and these 2 modules itself, and the second module is on pilot study. If not for the pilot study, I wouldn't be doing my thesis so much more smoothly because I do know what are the things to do and what are the things not to do. So, and to me, timing-wise, as I plan each segment, each timing, I find that is very doable in this case. And of course, 2 years, even though we are doing our thesis, it's also well spaced out for chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So right now, I'm doing my chapter 6, which could be the last chapter. And I just enjoy it. And Dr. LB, you're right. Sometimes when you think a lot, right, you tend to get hungry easier. I eat a lot. And all the more because of my job as a trainer, especially in the personal branding and image industry, we need to maintain. So the trick is, people, you just plan it well. Like for Reen, she does the white space, and I believe her canvas must be very colorful. For me, I plan it drawing on different timing. For Monday to Friday, could be just more in terms of my work. Saturday, Sunday, even though it could be family, your family must understand, I'm actually spaced out time to do my thesis. And this is what I do, morning, evening, night. And I did an hour, maybe it could be 1 paragraph. And it's not, sometimes you think that, oh, you can write the whole chapter. No, because we need to make sure that everything is supported by research or literature review evidence. But it's very fun. I enjoy it because it's a topic that I would love to do. And I believe you can too, especially right now, as mentioned, passion, personality, purpose, and with peer support. And that's my journey. You can still maintain your weight, okay, if you know how to plan it well. Because in between I'll rest and I'll do some exercise. And that's for me.
So it's been a very interesting discussion to, even for me, I mean, I'm very, very familiar with all the 3 students. They're very, very, all my students are very close to me. And some people call me a mother hen because, though I think we should change that to father hen, but
yes.
the father hen doesn't exist. So, because yes, at MDIS we are very, very, I think maybe that is one of the differences between other programs and ours. We are very, very close to our students. We are closely supervising them. We are trying to make sure that you finish on time. We are trying to ensure that however busy you are, you should have a meeting with your Singapore supervisor as well as your UK supervisor once every month. That keeps you in track, that keeps you in harness, and the strong mentorship program that we have at MDIS is something that we are very, very proud of. Tommy, I hope to be calling you Dr. Tommy very, very soon. I think it should be within a month or so. How long do we
Yes,
have left
yeah.
to
So
go?
I've completed
2 weeks.
my Viva.
Yeah,
I've
2
done
months.
my oral defense. I've submitted my thesis amendments. So actually, after the Viva, I'm awarded the degree already.
Wow.
So
Okay.
the rest are just official things, and
It's only a technical formality.
that's right. So it's just a matter
Dr.
of time
Tommy.
with the formal letter from the university. But I thought I want to add on is that it's very easy after 3 years, right? To forget why you first started your DBA journey. And I thought it's important to keep reminding yourself, even after 3 years, why you started this whole journey in the first place. Because in between, you sometimes get lost in chapters. There will be so many thoughts that come to you, so many ideas that got generated, and there will be a lot of challenges that come your way. But I think it's important that you stay focused and never forget why you start this whole journey in the first place. And I think I was able to complete because it's not just through the once a month meeting that I have my supervisors. Trust me, my supervisors email me, every other day, and I drop them
Oh.
emails. So when I first started this DBA journey, somebody told me that the DBA journey is not about um, writing a thesis. It's about managing your supervisor. So I'm not really sure whether the person is trying to encourage me or dissuade me. But honestly, what it turns out to be is my supervisors needs to manage me because I'm like a very curious student. I have questions every now and then. For one chapter, I may have 20 questions, 30 questions. How should I approach this? Because you have a free hand. So if you're going to describe it as a canvas, like what Rain mentioned, the thesis is also a canvas for you to paint your own colors, and that is where your
Marvelous.
finishing touch is. And you'll be proud after 3 years that you have a name to it. This is a research thesis. It's a book that I intended to print. And you can keep it forever. So that's how I thought that I could add to this discussion.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think we are very, very happy to announce that there's going to be the first
DBA, we have actually graduation ceremony, which is going to be on the 14th of May next year. So I hope that, okay, I know Dr. Tommy will be there. Hey, Rin, we have to buck up, okay?
Hey. Oh,
14
wow,
May. I'm
stress.
going to text my group, okay, my
Sweat.
batch of group. Yeah, and I tell them that, hey, let's go work towards 14th of May 2022.
marvelous.
Well, I
That's
look
Set a
forward
goal.
to graduating with all of you.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks for the great news.
This is wonderful news to work towards. So to all the prospective students out there, it is a wonderful journey. It is a very exciting journey. And please do join us on this exciting journey. Please do join Tommy, Reen, and Joshua, and me. And we look forward to seeing you here on the MDIS campus, along with Teesside University on the DBA journey. Goodbye, and thank you for being with us.
See you soon in campus, and as our juniors in doing doctorate here. See you.
See you all.